Hey there, back to V5 programming with Mr. T. All right, today we're going to look at the analog sensor called a line tracker. Used to be called a line follower, uh, but it is a great tool for sensing reflectivity. A lot of people have a misconception this is like a brightness meter. It is not. It's actually a reflectivity meter. Even though in the old Robot C EDR programming, you would base it as 0 to 4095 being the range based off quote unquote brightness, it's better explained and understood as reflectivity. It's how much something reflects back into the actual sensor. It's not digital because it's not a 1 or a 0, which would be an on or off. It's actually a range. All right, so here we go. Your line follower, a line tracker, is usually set up underneath your robot, about a quarter inch or so from the actual material or floor or whatever it is you're driving over, and and it will actually read the reflectivity. Now, different colors do hold some different reflectivity of colors and light in general, so you can actually figure out an exactness in there and figure out how it can read different colors. Some people have Rubik's Cube solvers, etc., and they use these to determine what colors something sees or what colors something reads. All right, so let's get into, that's kind of like the details of it, but let's get into the basics of this. So how does this basically work for Mr. T's class? What we're going to do is we're just going to measure some basic reflectivity, and I want you guys just to learn how to program this. Now, just like your potentiometer, there is a threshold, or let's say a limit. So just think of your little brother or sister. You tolerate them to a certain specific point, but after that point, boom, something happens. So we're going to find where the threshold is on the actual line tracker. The cool part about V5 software, this is one of the coolest part, is it actually does percentage rather than a 0 to 4095, which is a lot harder to deal with. All right, so what we're gonna do is I just name this line tracker. We're gonna add a device. We're gonna add a motor so we can watch what happens. We're just gonna say we have motor 1 in the port 1. And we're gonna add a line tracker. So it's a 3-wire line tracker. There it is. It's in port F with all the craziness I have going on with my brain over here. Now, before anybody does anything, for all my courses, I want you to go ahead and start with a wait of 3 seconds. And this will also save your butt on this one because it will give you time to see what actually happens. And with that, you know what? I'll show you without the wait. We'll do that. All right, so what I want to happen is this. I want the line tracker to determine when my motor starts and when it doesn't. So let's go ahead and get my motor stuff set up. So we're going to go ahead and set our motor's velocity to 50%. We're going to go ahead and get a stop for the motor, a start for the motor, and we're going to go ahead and run it for 1 second. Okay, let's see, where did that go? It is down here. Boom. All right, so the motor will spin for 1 second, then the motor will stop. Simple as that. All right, so we're going to set that right here. Now we need an until statement, kind of like the Lorax, unless. So we're going to do a wait until. All right, so here we go. The wait until what? This will happen. So when this occurs, this will happen. Okay, so here we go. So now we need to figure out what that thing is that needs to occur. So we're going to go down to the sensing area, and remember, you can just click over here. Boom, there it is. And you're like, oh, what am I sensing? Not a motor. Oh, line tracker. It's right there. All right, so boom. I'm going to pull that guy over, and but it won't fit. Oh, no. Well, back in our operators, we have things that actually match that shape right there. And we have above 50, below 50, or equal to 50. Or we can change that to any number we want. So what we're going to do is, let's do greater than 50. Let's just grab that in. And let's put the line tracker within that actual operator. So now, the line tracker reflectivity is greater than 50%. All right, so check this out. Here we go. Boom. It's in there now. All right. So let's just say that's our program. And we want to go ahead and download it. So done. Now, watch this. We're going to, if you were a student, which you might be, and you were sitting there and you're like, oh, let's watch this work. So what you're going to do is you're going to go this. You're going to hit run. Let's see what happens. Oh, it immediately started. So if your robot was supposed to drive, it just drove off the table. And you had no idea it was going to start because you're not sure what the reflectivity is right here. Okay? So by this, we already know, and by the way, it says it's still running. Well, the program is already finished. Yes, the brain says, oh, I'm still going, but the program's done. So there's no point in having that still sit right there. So what you need to think about and consider is when we look at our actual program and say, well, if it immediately started, my program's wrong. No, your program is correct. All that happened was your reflectivity was already greater than 50%. So as soon as it read it was greater than 50, booyah, this puppy started moving. All right, this is where my weight is super, 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 super handy and why it's required for my course. So we're going to put a weight of 3 seconds in. We're going to go ahead and drag that back up. We're going to download it, and then we're going to run it. Now, watch this. So now you have 3 seconds to be like, okay, let me get everything ready, and then it should run. Oh, reflectivity is not showing right there. Oh, there it is. Wow, that changed things up a little bit. I guess whatever was above me, I shifted it over with this guy. Remember, whatever is above you. So if you have a ceiling tile above you, then it might give you one reading. But if you have a drop ceiling or maybe those supports, or as some you students might look up and say metal bars or what have you above you, those reflect differently than the actual ceiling tiles. All right. So, but that 3 second wait is super, super, super huge to have, so you have the time to get things ready instead of it just being jumping and driving off your table. Now, you also might notice that the reflectivity, it said it was a little less than 50%. However, when I put my finger on it, my fingers have oils on them, just like yours do. The oils reflect immediately back and a little brighter, quote unquote brighter, back to the actual sensor inside this line follower. Okay? Now, when it reflects back, boom, it lets you know that the reflectivity is a certain amount. Like we could even change this to, watch, we could do 35. And let's see what happens. So let's download, and let's see if this thing would run by itself at 35. Let's see. Let's watch. Here we go. 2, 3. All right, so the reflectivity, I still have it in that weird spot, and I put my finger over it. Here we go. Boom. So my finger was more reflective. So that's how you would find your threshold and figure out the happy place where you would be able to say, okay, I want it to move with my finger or I don't want it to move. Let's say I did not want it to move with my finger. We can go ahead and jump in and say, okay, let's put reflectivity as 15%. Let's just see what happens. And remember, if you're going to test in a different part of the room, it may give you a whole different percentage. Just be aware. 2, 3, let's see. All right, we are still in that happy weird spot. Let's see if I can find something else in the room. Oh, no, still reading. All right, try the finger. Boom. All right, so check everything out and make sure you have your weights in there because you want to make sure that you protect that robot. So here we go. So line tracker, reflectivity and percentage. This is your adjustment, upper or lower. Now, if you are utilizing, instead of a wait until, if you use an if then, be mindful that the if then only checks. I'm going to set this in there. This is a good code, but it will check it in like 0.1 seconds. As soon as it checks, is it greater than 15 degrees? Percent. If it's not greater, it doesn't do anything and your program has ended and it will never check it again. So don't think your sensor is bad just because nothing happened. No, it just means your threshold or your reflectivity was not met. If you want it to go over and over and check it over and over and over, then you would definitely want to put in basically a forever loop, and then you could put in the if within the forever loop, and it should loop over and over. So after it checks it once, it'll boom, go back up, check it again, boom, go back up, check it again, boom, go back up, check it again, forever and ever and ever. Amen. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Hope you have fun playing with the line tracker.